You said you have the.
You're interrupting while pretending to ask for my explanation.
I am.
Okay,
I'm trying to ask you a
shut
question.
up, dude. Okay, so inertial state at rest. It's an inertial state. The ether is inertia. Okay, it's
How is
in
that?
an inertial state.
How is it?
Shut
inertial?
up. Shut up. That inertial state that is the ether is the source, the primary source of all things that we eventually label energy. It is the pure potential state of inertia.
Again, everything you said there, I think you kind of made up on the fly. It doesn't make really any sense. Can you be
He's
more
stating
clear?
what has been stated in the industry as fact. That's all. He's nuts, you know.
No, nothing in industry. There's nothing in physics that says it like that at all.
Buddy, there's a background medium in which all the energy comes from, okay? It's at rest. Whenever it's set into motion or pushed under strain, that is whenever it manifests in the material world as different forms of energy.
How do you push this inertial state?
Oh my God, I just don't even. Oh, you're just dumb.
You said you have the ether, which is the inertial state of all energy. Let me see if I understand you correctly. So you're saying the inertial state is the ether that is the pure potential of all energy in the universe, and it doesn't manifest itself into energy until it is pushed. What is that? I don't get it.
So if you would if you would allow me, Zanick.
No. I asked WItsit.
Yeah, I know, but you guys are having a disconnection. I'm not white knighting. I'm chiming in and I'm explaining something that you might not be aware of. That's all. And what WItSit's trying to tell you is that inertia and acceleration are set as reference to the erasers of space, formlessness, and the ether, or the homeostasis in counter space, which is pure potential energy.
Come on,
so
stop reading shit from Dr. Fester. Come on.
Centripetal convergence to or as non-Cartesian unmanifest homeostasis of potential. So essentially what I'm telling you is that the motion towards charge, i.e. the ether, and potential, or as Walter Russell put it, motion is the expression of power, and no expression of anything is that which expresses it.
Well, motion is not an expression of power, by the way.
So the motion towards charge or recharge is increasing inertia and acceleration. It's that simple.
How do you increase inertia and acceleration?
They're antithesis of one another. Yeah, I guess you missed the whole point.
No, I'm not missing anything. I'm listening very.
He wants to pretend he knows something more than you, even though he doesn't even comprehend what you're saying.
I comprehend all the words. I know what they actually mean.
He's just a hater.
You're using. I'm not a hater. WItsit.
Yeah, you're a negationist. All you do is negate. You don't understand.
Blah
blah blah.
I have been indoctrinated. Remember, I've been indoctrinated by our system. I only know.
We know.
Okay, then step aside, son.
I'm trying to have a conversation.
Wash your mind.
You're not letting me. I'm indoctrinated. I only have the answers to the questions of what these words mean based on what I've been taught and the experiments that I've been a part of and how I understand these things. You're telling me things using those same words that mean something either completely different or they're nonsensical to me. And I'm asking how I can converge these two worlds of understanding and definitions so that I understand what you're trying to say. Right now, saying that
the first step is to unlearn the lies that you believed.
Dipodal interactants. I mean, they're all just words that are strung together and they don't have a meaning to me. Please help me understand what they mean.
This seems to be a very strange kind of. So, if I was to say the word potential, right, the given context changes the meaning, and that doesn't invalidate its meaning in that context. So, an example would be you could have potential in electricity, or you could talk about the potential of like a young sportsman, and that's a completely different meaning. It's the very same word, but because the context is different, the meaning is different. But both definitions are valid in their relative contexts.
I'm asking about the context, Crypto. It's not
okay.
Wait, what you actually want us to teach you is comprehension.
I start talking to Crypto and you jump in and talk over me. Let me have a
you're asking. You always suck.
What you're asking for is for us to teach you basic reading comprehension. Is that really what we're going to do here?
This is the main problem, Zanick. You're not actually. You're pretending you want to just understand our position. You're going to interrupt right there. Knew it. You're like predictable as hell. So in reality, it's just a cover because you keep on slipping through your true intention, which is just a claim that we're stupid, we're saying words that don't make sense, and the phrases we're using are incoherent, and that we're retarded. But you want to pretend, the way that you can say that is to pretend you just want to understand what we're saying. Okay? You're not tricking anyone. You're not intellectually superior to anyone in this room. No one here is blown away with your manipulative ability to pretend something is the case when it's not. Okay, you're very see-through and predictable.
My turn. So now you're mind fucking me. That's not what I'm thinking. That's not what I'm here. I'm curious because there are things in physics that do not have clear answers to me, such as how we can turn energy into mass, or how mass can actually be turned into energy completely. These are things that we don't fully understand in the world of physics. You're making ideas and making claims and giving descriptions using the words that I'm familiar with in physics, but giving them completely different meanings. And to Crypto's point, they are still in the same context, but they are not clear as to what you are trying to say with those words. When you start stringing a bunch of terms together, this convergence, this centripetal, centrifugal, divergence.
So you're incompetent.
Oh, no, I don't know. I'm asking, when you use those words and string together, I'm asking what they actually mean. What do you mean by an inertial state, pure potential, manifesting itself into acceleration? What does that mean?
See, this is the problem, right? You can't even repeat the phrases that you're claiming don't make sense. It's hilarious. You're claiming that what I said doesn't make sense, and you can't even say what it is I said. It's just
because I can't remember. Dude, these are foreign terms. You're stringing a bunch of words together that don't make any sense.
Go out and write it down. Write it down.
This is just a long-winded way of accusing us of talking nonsense again.
You're talking over WItsit.
Stop being. You're being disingenuous.
Go ahead.
Write it down. Centrifugal.
Centrifugal or centripetal? Hold on.
Centrifugal.
So now it was centripetal before. Now it's centrifugal. Okay.
Buddy, write it down.
I'm writing it down. Shut up.
Centrifugal divergence. Okay, now go to the line underneath that and write centripetal convergence. Now go look up the words and then come back to us.
I know what they mean.
Thank you.
I know what is the term?
Wait. Keep taking notes.
Centrifugal divergence, centripetal convergence. What are those two terms mean? What do they mean?
Okay, wait. Take a few more notes. Conjugate.
Conjugate.
CONJUG.
I know how to spell it.
Conjugate geometric expression. Write the words down.
I'm taking copious notes. Don't worry about that. I'm good at that.
Okay, so conjugate geometric expression of centrifugal divergence and centripetal convergence, which is the hyperboloid. Write it down.
Hold on.
Hyperboloid and toroid. And then I have a 7th grade analogy for you. The donut and the inside of the donut. Okay, there you go. Do some Google image searches.
Yeah, just look at Dyslow. Just look at Dyslow's avatar. There it is.
Yeah, you can even look at my avatar as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so we have the centrifugal divergence and the centripetal convergence, and the analogy is going to be of the donut and the inside of the donut. And you said the conjugate; these are conjugate geometric expressions, which are the hyperboloid and the toroid. You said which?
That's right. Yeah.
Which are?
Yeah, you got it, dude. There you go. Stop right there. You got it. All right. Okay. Cool.
Now, what does that mean?
Somebody give that man a donut.
And no, it's not are. It's is. I'm sorry you don't know even subject verb agreement.
No. You have two objects. Objects of that of the which are the you can't say which
the
is
expression is.
If you have two things that they are, then it can't be is.
No, the expression is singular and it's comprised of two things. So the expression is blank blank. Okay, thanks for playing. Also, you got an English lesson. So you see how ironic it is when you come in here and pretend that I'm so stupid. I put words together that don't make sense, but when it comes down to it, you just don't understand it. It's above your head. You not see the irony of that?
Yes, if that expression is the hyperboloid and the toroid, I get that.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're gonna move on. Okay, now what it is you have the ether. That's the background medium. It is substantive and has physical properties. Okay, it's an actual substantive medium, and it is in a state of inertia, meaning at rest. It's perfect equilibrium. It is in a state of perfect equilibrium, inertia, rest. Okay? It is pure potential. Emphasis on the word pure because it's equilibrium. Perfect equilibrium, pure potential. Okay? Now, when the ether is put under, no, it's not moving. That's what inertia means.
No, that's not what inertia means.
I know. If it's moving, not changing, it's still inertia. That's why I said state of rest. I've already covered this with you. Take your notes. You're going to fail the test.
So it can't be moving?
I said specifically it is in a state of rest.
Yes.
Exactly. State of rest has
state of rest,
no
inertial states.
Inertial states mean they can be moving.
Of rest.
Your pupil's very disorderly, WItsit. You might need to get the switch.
I know, he sucks. Inertial state of rest. Hey, raise your hand if you want to be called upon. Inertial
rest is relative.
State.
Relative.
I don't need your bullshit relativity.
Well, no, I want to make sure I'm clear on all these terms. So you're saying we both agree that inertia could be something at rest or in motion without forces acting on it. As long as it's not accelerating, it's still inertial.
Yeah, that's why I specifically got ahead of it 5 minutes ago and said
why are you talking over me? We're having a nice conversation.
My time.
No, I'm not wasting your time. You're actually
because he's the teacher. Sit down, shut up, and take your notes.
I'm raising my hand and I'm asking. Okay, so we understand that it can be moving, but motion and at rest is relative to other things, right? So you're saying
that's what you
rest with respect to everything in the universe. Is that rest?
That's right. It's actually an absolute reference frame of rest.
Oh, okay. So there we go. That was an appropriate question. And that was a good answer.
Until you have a thought.
Okay, so it's an absolute rest. Okay.
Yes, that's right. Okay. So when this ether is put under stress or strain, okay, then it manifests materially in the material world as electrostatics. When this ether is thrown into motion, specifically torsion, a twisting motion, a tornado of vortex. When it's thrown into motion, it manifests as electricity and magnetism. Okay, now these are forms of energy. So it's gone from the pure potential state of rest to energetic expressions due to stress and motion. Okay?
Cheers.
Okay, so if it's getting stress or strain, specifically torsion, it can manifest itself into electrostatics. But however, when thrown into motion,
You're so close.
No, dude. Stress and strain electrostatics. Motion, i.e. torsion. Motion, i.e. torsion, is electricity and magnetism.
Oh, motion is now torsion. That's not stress?
It's not now. That's what I said the first time.
No, I thought you had it strung together. I think I want to make sure I got it clear. Hold on, I'm
You're
just
going to
correcting
fail the test, man.
Okay, fine. So when it's under strain, it manifests as under electrostatics. When it's thrown into motion or torsion, it manifests itself into magnetism or electricity.
Correct, yeah. And of course, a different lesson that should have come before this would be properly defining light, electrostatics, magnetism, and electricity, but I don't have time for that. So,
sure. Okay. Now I'm glad I have the basic framework for which all your logic kind of is derived from, or the foundation for all your logic.
There you go. Now you're getting it. And so basically, from the small all the way to the big, we're going to bring the phrase up again. This isn't word salad. It doesn't, we just covered it. Okay. It's all the same conjugate geometric expression. Okay. So from the small to the big, we have the same geometry. Conjugate just means two sides to the same coin. It means the other side of the coin, the inverse, the reciprocation, conjugate. Okay. So you have the inside of the donut and the outside of the donut. This geometry is the geometry of the universe from the small all the way to the big. Okay? That is the unified theory. That's in reality the
and you call that the conjugate convergence geometry? You call that the conjugate
geometric expression.
The conjugate, well, you talked in the beginning. You just had a summary that was different than the conjugate geometric expression. You said something else.
No, I didn't. I explained what that means specifically. It would be the inside and outside of the donut. The hyperboloid and the toroid are conjugate geometric expressions. One's the inside of the other. Okay, they are the inverse reciprocated other side of the coin. The inside of the donut and the outside of the donut.
It's like you're talking about the orange, and he's like, "Oh, are you talking about the peel, or are you talking about the inside? Wait, are you talking?" And you're like, "No, it's just the orange, dude. It's just that."
Are you trying to be funny? Are you trying to be funny?
What? Are you trying to pay attention?
I am paying attention. I'm
so
are you sure?
Okay, let me.
Okay.
I'll show you that I understand. Let me explain it back to you. So first of all, I do have a question about the centrifugal divergence and the centripetal convergence. Were those teams? I know you kind of alluded to it earlier, but I will go back to that in a second. And that is the conjugate geometric expression for which the hyperboloid and the toroid are made of. This is like equivalent or analogous to the donut and the inside of the donut. And the ether is a substantive medium that is in a state of inertia, and it is pure potential. It is at rest, absolute rest. When it is under strain, it manifests itself into electrostatics. And when it's thrown into motion or has torsion acted on it, it manifests itself into magnetism or electricity.
Yes, pretty close. I wouldn't say torsion acting on it, but yeah, that's the actual motion.
How does a torsion, which is a rotational force acting on some type of structure, how would you impart a torsion to something that is it to a? Hold on. How do you impart a torsion to a substantive medium? Why don't you explain that real quick?
Okay, so now that's a bigger question, which is what's causing the ether to be under stress or to be set into motion, i.e., torsion, right? That's a good question.
Well, why is torsion
now you
motion?
Have to understand. Now you have to understand the next step of it, which is that there is the ether and there is a life-giving force. There is a primary source of energy or force that is acting within this ether, okay? So you have the canvas being the ether. You have the life-giving force being the painter. You have the final product of the painting being the material world and all the energy within it. Okay? The life-giving force coming down from above sends the energy down through the ether, putting it under stress. A force pressing down throughout the ether causes the ether to be pushed under stress. What happens is part of the ether now becomes material and materially manifest, which is why all matter is held together by electrostatics, because the ether has some source of energy putting it under stress, causing the material world to be manifested and then held together by electrostatics. Okay? So you have to have the primary source and the ether, two separate things.
I understand that, but why? What is a torsion? What is the torsion? In the way you're using it, what does that mean in your definition?
I explained it. It's like a vortex or a tornado, a twist. It's a type of motion.
Torsion is
the convergence of the two energies that he's talking about.
Well, it's not a convergence. Why would you say a torsion is a vortex? Why don't you just use the word vortex? Torsion has a specific meaning in physics. I don't think it's got the same.
It's twisting. That's what it means. It means twisting.
Okay, so it's twisting. Okay,
that's what a vortex is.
Oh, vortex more like a funnel.
Oh, vortex don't twist?
Well, they spin. I don't know if they twist.
Why are you such an argumentative student, man? How do you expect to learn?
No, you're going to get
twisted. Twist is not a physics word, but okay.
Hey,
I think I know what you mean.
Zanick, tornadoes are called twisters.
Zanick's getting vortex.
I know it. There's vortex, and they have a twist to them. Okay, I get where you're going with that. It's not really a word that's used in. We talk about vortexes and those types of flows. They don't talk about them.
Dude, we literally have torsion axles with vortex hubs.
Yeah, I know about differentials and
okay, so stop.
Stop. Have you ever heard of torque?
He can't help himself.
Do I ever heard of torque? Do you know what torque
like
is?
It's like a Tourette's tick to just be
No,
argumentative.
do you know what? I don't think Will
Hey,
said
dude, you're
that.
about to get put in detention, dude. I'm gonna send you to DMOC. He's the principal. You're gonna get reprimanded. Do you want to go to the principal's office?
Dean Mock.
Someone said.
Yeah, he's the Dean Mock. I'll
He's
release
me what
the
torque
Dean
was, and
Mock.
I laughed.
Yo, Gio needs to make that room.
Yeah, the principal's office, and just Dean Mock's just biting people's heads off in there. That's
Make
so
it happen.
funny, dude.
Make it happen.
Dude, people would start to behave. I think we should make you be on camera and prove you're taking notes. Can you take a picture of your notes?
Are you reading them?
Certainly.
Hey, if you'll pay to the fund, the school fund, I'll actually make you a quiz.
Okay.
I think you can pass
notes.
it.
You can bring them.
But you're gonna cheat and use your notes, yeah.
No, I won't.
Well, that'd be cool. Then we would
if
know.
I do that, hold on. If I do that, then you're going to have to do my quiz.
So we permanently avoided you saying whatever you said. We've avoided that, right? You now know what the term means.
No. I remember I told you at the beginning of my last question. I wanted to come back to centrifugal divergence and centripetal convergence.
That was the whole twist.
Okay, those two words. I understand you have toroids and you have these vortexes and you have these torsions and twistings. But what do you specifically mean by centrifugal divergence?
You say hemorrhoid?
Okay, centrifugal means moving away from the center. Centripetal means moving towards the center.
Yes.
So centrifugal, moving away from the center, would almost be redundant with the phrase divergence, but it's important to paint the full picture. So you have centrifugal divergence. Of course, that means it's diverting away. So it is diverting from the center. Centrifugal divergence, and then you have centripetal convergence, which is the opposite of that.
Right. But what do you mean by centrifugal divergence? I know what it means. I know what you're saying there, the definition. What is happening? What is actually moving to the outside or outward? And what is actually moving to the inside, converging? What is that is converging?
It's the ether.
Why?
It's the ether. This is the material manifestation of ether.
The material
manifestation. He's already covered it.
That's a new one.
50 times.
I didn't have that. So those both are the material manifestations of ether?
Yeah, when you say both,
that only happens
one without the other.
So you're saying, hold on, I'm putting the pieces together. So you're saying that when the ether is stressed, since the material manifestation of the ether happens through centripetal convergence, or is it centrifugal divergence?
No, that would be the torsion, the vortex, the magnetism. Okay, now, but you said your question right then was, is it heads or tails? You're saying that is the coin heads or tails?
So both are manifestations of. Well, I understand the analogy. You're saying one's head, one's tail. It's the same coin, two sides.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. But what I'm saying is, when does one of those create magnetism, the other one creates electricity, or how does one contrast to the other? Like, for example,
this would actually be chapter 2, right?
What happens?
Chapter would be about defining these terms.
Give me an example of centripetal convergence.
A magnetic field.
Yeah, you can look at a ferrule cell. There you go.
Centripetal convergence.
We have actual demonstrations in this school.
Well, so there's forces inward, and it's convergence, it's motion inward. What is the motion inward? That doesn't really just depict a motion going inward.
Yeah, so you have the dielectric and you have the magnetic, and coherently
dielectric.
Man, dude, I'm gonna have to up your tuition, dude, or we're gonna give you out of school suspension or something.
Hey, WItsit, I can bet something. Zanick will never change.
No way, dude. You really going on a limb there?
No. Okay, so but you said those two things, the centrifugal divergence and the centripetal convergence, are the manifestations of what?
The material manifestation of the ether, and a specific example would be a magnetic field.
Okay. So, but you said centripetal convergence related to a magnetic field. So what is a
You're
centripetal
back to
divergence?
basically asking about heads and tails separately as if they're not both part of the coin.
Right. It's ridiculous.
So
It's
the
insane.
centrifugal divergence is also, hold on, I get it. So if that's the case, then the centrifugal divergence is also magnetism, but just maybe in the opposite direction.
That's right. That's one half of the conjugate geometric expression that is magnetism. I get that these phrases may sound word salady or
they
may
do because,
sound
dude,
overly.
in physics they're not used like you're using them. So I'm learning a new language from you. Thank you.
Yeah, more accurate, precise, and substantive language.
Yeah, he forgot the quantum part of that with that physics.
Oh, if I throw quantum on there, if I say quantum conjugate geometric
No,
expression,
not
it becomes
you.
science. No, I'm just saying though,
Exactly.
if I that's a good idea though. I should just put quantum before it all,
Right?
and all of a sudden it'll be scientific.
Then they'll be like, oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta admit that is what's done a lot. Like when people don't understand things, they're like, just throw quantum on it.
Yeah, they love it. They love that one. And dark matter, they love that one too. It works really well.
Well, this is what's so funny is dark matter is basically just acknowledging the ether.
Exactly.
Because the ether is substantive. Yeah. But it's different than matter as we perceive it being tangible. But it's not that it's separate things, it's different versions of the same thing. See, this is where modern cosmology has just lost its mind in modern quantum and physics, because they're like, oh, dark matter is some separate entity we can't find or understand or discover, and it doesn't interact with light. Yeah, that's right, because dark light is excited dark matter because it's all the ether. Like
dark what?
Light is excited dark matter. Of course, dark matter doesn't interact with the electromagnetic spectrum because the electromagnetic spectrum, i.e. light, is the dark matter excited. You know, but that's obviously using your guys' terms, because in reality, you don't break up dark matter and energy as two separate things, and you don't break up light and matter as intangible material as separate things from those. They're just different versions of the same thing. It's like water, ice, and water vapor. Well, they're all water, you know? So you got liquid water, gas, and water vapor, but they're all water. It's like, I wouldn't just make up different terms and say they're unrelated. Anyone claiming that they're unrelated is just stupid. Like, they're not even worth talking to because they're different versions.
So
okay, I'm just saying it's a stupid position.
Well, I don't know about
counterintuitive.
Ignorance can be taught. Stupidity is forever. Now I'm showing you that I'm very interested in your language and trying to figure out what your interpretation of the concepts are. And this language is interesting. But so you said that centrifugal divergence and centripetal emergence are both manifestations of an ether, and you're saying that it's magnetism. Yeah. But would that
is a
not
good
be?
Example, yeah.
But it's not. But it's not electricity. Electricity would be.
He said magnetism is an expression of that.
What?
Yeah, and technically everything's magnetic. Electricity would be like the hybrid of these two together coherently. So like a coherent hybridization of the two.
But you said they are the same. They're two sides of one coin. Now you're saying they're different in a hybrid?
No, well, the dielectric and the magnetic are two sides of one coin, and whenever you use these together coherently, you have electricity.
What's a dielectric mean in your examples?
Okay, we'll just say electrostatics because I don't want to play this game with you.
I know, this is going to be crazy if we get into that.
Yeah, I mean, like, just like you say,
dielectric,
like a dielectric material stores electricity and has specific capacitance, and that's why we use dielectric material, because of its ability to store electricity without as much loss, right? Yes, that's right. Yeah, so it's the same thing in a way, except modern physics just tries to act like dielectric is just the material. It's just a dielectric material. But no, it's not. Well, yeah, that's right. But actually, it's not just oil. The material.
Yeah, you need oil.
You should reach Charles Produce Steinmetz.
Nah, he can't do that. He'll be jumping too many classes.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's like next. That's like a few grades away. Well, anyway, whenever you get up to high school, then you'll get to Charles Produce Steinmetz and Oliver Heaviside, and it'll really help you put the pieces together.
High school?
I am actually making a homeschool curriculum, by the way, but when it's all said and done, we're going to have 12-year-olds that could have given you this lesson.
Hell yeah, brother. I like it.
Hey, Nate, are you following this, by the way?
I just got back, man.
Oh, you missed
You should go back and listen. It's hilarious. It's so funny.
Can I read that? Do you mind if I read this to Nate real quick, just to get him caught up? Because
I don't care.
Okay. So Nate, you listening?
Yeah.
So the centrifugal divergence and the centripetal convergence both are manifestations of the ether, i.e., basically it's magnetism. The conjugate geometric expression, which is the hyperboloid and the toroid, it's basically equivalent to the donut and the inside of the donut. The ether is the substantive medium, and it is a state of inertia. It is in a state of inertia. I mean, it's pure potential, and it's at absolute rest, not relative to anything else. It's absolutely in rest, not in motion. And when the ether is under strain or torsion, it manifests itself into electrostatics.
No.
What? You said it was. When you strain the ether, you said it would manifest itself in electrostatics.
He didn't pay attention very well, even to the reproof earlier.
Dude, look.
I moved the word torsion from whatever I had it back to. So no torsion.
Well, you
okay,
just said
strain.
it
Okay,
again,
fine,
dude.
Okay, fine. I'll move it.
Yeah.
So it manifests itself in electrostatics, but when thrown into motion, it manifests itself into magnetism and electricity. So the conjugate. This is the conjugate geometric.
Specifically, torsion, twisting, vortex.
That's the motion. That's the motion.
Go ahead. Sorry, just go ahead.
Well, I'm just make sure I get it right.
Yeah, that's the motion. Yeah.
Okay, so the motion. I'll move the torsion to the motion side of that equation. So that dielectric, the electrostatic, stores electricity. I think we know what you mean. So does that? How does that sound, Nate?
Well, I mean,
that's kind of clear. That his interpretation of our the known physics, and then a slightly different twist to it all. Nate?
It's an understanding of the physics, and then you have the ability to store what he's saying as electricity, if you understand what he's saying.
Well,
it's a potential.
Can you then you seem to understand this? Why don't you explain the difference between a capacitor and a battery, how they store electricity? Go ahead. To show that you understand.
Oh man, dude, this
no,
is way.
I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to who just chimed in. I'm just talking about the expert who just chimed in. Now, this dielectric in a battery or in a capacitor, how do they store electricity differently?
I don't have to say anything. Once it's already said.
Because you don't know. Okay. So don't jump in like you're the knowledgeable
potential. Person. It's the potential and the material and the medium that you're using. You just keep changing the words.
I didn't change any words. I asked you to explain what you meant by that. You said the electric.
I'm about to give you an attention slip, dude. You're disrupting the class.
All right.
Actually, we pretty much already concluded the lesson. So let's see if you can pass the pop quiz. Turn your notes over, man. We just have to do the honor system. Okay. So, what is the geometry of the universe?
The geometry, height, width, and depth.
You just added stuff that wasn't even in the lesson.
You never talked about what the geometry of the universe was.
Yeah, we did.
That's gross insubordination.
No, you said something about. You talked about the universe is ether.
I said that the geometry of the universe, from the small to the big, is what we're describing, which is the hyperbola and the toroid, which is a conjugate geometric expression.
You didn't say that, but okay. You didn't say that.
I literally did.
No, you didn't. I took the notes as you said them and wrote them verbatim on my notes sheet here, which I'm not looking.
Dude, I literally explained that we do have a unified theory.
To see if I did. Okay. I don't see anything.
I explained specifically that we do have a unified theory.
So I get the first one wrong. Okay, but I claim that you didn't teach that.
All right.
So go ahead.
It's all good. All right. Anyway, so you failed the quiz.
Oh, it's one question. One question quiz.
He brought his own notes too.
No,
he had his own notes.
I didn't use my notes. My notes have already been moving upward. I don't see my notes.
What is electrostatics?
The manifestation of the centrifugal divergence and the centripetal convergence.
No, dude, you're 0 for 2. You're doing terrible. the electrostatics is the ether under stress.
Oh, that's right.
Or strain.
Yeah, it's okay.
I thought that you couldn't have the centrifugal divergence and centripetal convergence unless there was stress, because that created the toroid, and that's a manifestation of the ether.
This is the importance of taking proper notes.
Well, no, it's going to take some time for me to relearn this. I mean, it's a new language.
WItsit, you're going to grade him on a curve.
Did he let the chicken take the notes?
I'll do real well compared to everybody else that's trying to learn this too.
Okay, so yeah, the electrostatics is the ether under stress. So what causes the ether to be under stress?
Under stress, forces acting on it. Just distortion of the ether, something pushing on it.
Yeah, get a little more specific.
You said something. Your words were something's pushing on the ether.
Yeah, a life-giving primary force.
Oh yeah. Now we're getting into
primary force.
Normal.
Well, this is all the metaphysical realm that interacts with the material world, but there has to be some type of source.
I've never had the metaphysical or any kind of pseudoscience moved into physics before. So I'm
other than space-time.
That's not a pseudo force. That's not a.
I told you this man is a walking, talking irony.
When you add dimensions,
space-time is not a belief.
When you add dimensions to the three-dimensional reality, technically that's metaphysical.
No, not if you have evidence to back it up.
Do you understand what the word metaphysical means?
Yes, it's pseudoscience.
Define the word metaphysical.
Not of the physical. Meta.
No, that's not what it means. It doesn't mean not of. It doesn't mean
not
that's
of.
That's not
physical.
what meta means. Meta does not mean not of.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you know what meta means?
Do you know what words mean, Zanick?
What word means? Yep.
Look it up.
Do you English?
Okay. No, he's gonna say that. He's gonna say that. WItsit just made that up.
I made up meta. Yeah, it means beyond.
No, metaphysical is not a made up word.
Meta means beyond.
Meta. Word forming element of Greek origin meaning after, beyond, among, between. Changed, altered, higher, beyond from Greek meta prep.
Yep, higher or beyond.
It's not.
Midst of, in common
physical.
With, by means of, between. In other
Someone
words, you don't know what you're talking about.
It is not physical.
When did I say beyond? It was? Why can't you just listen? I was reading off of an etymology.
He said beyond.
It's like cosmology.
Pay attention.
Yeah, it means beyond physical. So it's beyond the three-dimensional spatial extension that is the physical world.
So it's pseudoscience.
Well, that's what space-time claims to be.
No, pseudoscience has evidence for that. Pseudoscience has space-time has evidence for it. It has logic and evidence.
Ether has way more evidence and more logic.
You don't have evidence in metaphysical. No evidence.
Buddy, listen carefully.
You have to read your calendar and your time and your metrics of what that is.
Like astrology is metaphysical.
This is where you mute him, and then we read the book we were reading the other day.
Yeah, maybe
because it's a direct demonstration. Sorry.
I'm going to say one more thing. So, like, metaphysical means beyond physical, okay? So, what's the physical world? It's 3 dimensions, okay? The material, tangible, physical world. The material world is 3 dimensions. It's spatial extension. Now, if you go on to, say, a 4th dimension, then that would be beyond the material world, i.e. metaphysical, beyond the physical world, okay? Now, of course, specifically, space-time makes claims of the 4th dimension. Okay, that's what time is within. It's within the 4th dimension. So it is, by definition, a metaphysical claim. Now, when you then claim, we have evidence and logic, then you can apply that same standard to the ether and say, well, if you have evidence and logic, then you can support the idea. The problem is that actually the evidence supports the ether specifically, which says that if you get all the air out of a vacuum chamber, you're still going to have energy there because there's still ether there. Well, that's what we see. This is why you can't connect gravity and quantum. You can't connect general relativity and gravity to the quantum scale, because gravity, relativity, specifically does not predict there would be more energy in the vacuum chamber. Ether, however, does. Okay, and logically speaking, something must exist outside the material world, because nothing cannot exist. Even relativity claims something exists outside the material three-dimensional world. Again, they claim a fourth dimension.
It answers the paradox of why things forces on, yet they can still.
There is no paradox.
There is a. I just told you the paradox. You just denied it without even listening to me.
I'm not going to accept your religion. I'm just saying
it's not a
that
religion.
everything that is.
You do agree that things can be measured to accelerate and also have no forces acting on them? That
I can
here we go.
Some things we can't.
You're not going to be able to answer it. You think you know something you don't. You should just back off.
Stupid pretend. Gotcha.
And eat your popcorn. All right.
Okay, how about you physically demonstrate in reality a geodesic path of orbit where something free falls, simultaneously changing angular direction?
Easy.
Demonstrate it.
I just drop something or throw something off of a building.
If you throw something off the building, it doesn't perpetually orbit, changing angular direction and free fall.
Well, it would if it didn't run into something.
Oh, says you. So you can't demonstrate it.
You can't. Well, go look at the ISS then. Every 90 minutes, you'll see it fly overhead in an orbit, constantly changing direction. With no forces acting on it.
Man.
Because it doesn't. It's been doing it for 20, 30 years. We've had things.
Yeah, no, but here's the difference. Here's the difference.
What's the difference? Go ahead. Here's your squiggle card. Use the squiggle card.
I can invoke an actual physical mechanism that can be demonstrated, scientifically proven via experiment, that would explain the ISS. It is quantum locking or magnetic levitation.
No.
Over a plane surface, you can have something quantum lock and then perpetually orbit using magnetism. Now, we cannot show in any type of experiment or demonstration that an object will free fall around another object, perpetually moving in orbit while changing angular direction. This is anomalous physics.
No, because you are now missing a critical aspect.
It's because you're not part of the club with it. If you were part of the club, if you're an astronaut, then you would know that's true.
Hold on. The instantaneity is a thing we've talked about before. That is not a property of magnetism, number one. Number two, when you have something that is in orbit locked in with a magnetism, there are forces that are acting on that structure and not acting on the objects that are inside of that structure that are not magnetic, that are paramagnetic. So it doesn't happen. But in
everything's
orbit,
magnetic.
They're not acting upon them. There are still forces acting on them while that object is changing direction, being quantum locked and following some track due to magnetism, which is not. It has no instantaneity. It is not instantaneous. Forces of gravity on the local scale are and do have instantaneity as a property. So that right there throws a wrench in that gear of logic that you're using. Thank you.
Wrong.
Yeah, there's the answer you're looking for. Wrong.
You're absolutely wrong, because your current gravity is not instant. So try again, Zanick. Try again. It is not.
It is, because if I have an object sitting on a table and I remove the table, the instant that force is removed, it accelerates instantly.
Are you saying there's no resistance?
Once again, you don't know your model.
But hold on. It accelerates, but yet there's no forces acting on it. That's the instantaneity that you're not understanding. So you're going to talk over me because you're very panicky, you're getting confused, and you have to say something. Go ahead.
I'll prove you wrong right now. Ready? Your model. If the sun disappears right now, when do we feel it? When does the Earth feel this loss of gravity? Go.
Well, like I said, it worked on the local scale, not the galactic scale. No, that's a different,
that's all you got to do, guys.
That's a different set of conditions. That's a different set of conditions. No, that's a different set of conditions. I told you, it works on a local scale.
Squirrel.
Was that easy or what? Huh? Yeah,
I already told you.
I have one hand tied behind my back.
Before you asked the question, and I already got done telling it, qualified by saying instantaneity follows a local scale, not a large scale.
What the
large
hell is
scale
that?
is the sun and the earth, and that would work It's at the speed of light, no faster.
Zanick, you heard of Rush
Gravitational
Limbaugh?
waves also speed of light, but gravity on the local scale has instantaneity. So he was talking about
We got you.
What's
my
gravity?
turn? My turn now.
All you got was fusion.
We got you. Have you heard of Rush Limbaugh when he says, "I had half my brain tied behind my back"? That's how easy it is for that one. That's how simple it was. Your son model.
You forgot the pre-fall. So you weren't listening. You weren't listening when I said on the local scale. You missed that part, I guess.
Yeah, that's called dialetheism. That's another one of your faults. You believe in two truths. Yes,
gravity
you
doesn't
believe
work.
in
gravity absolutely does not work on the quantum scale. And it doesn't work on the galactic scale either. Hey, it doesn't work at the galactic scale nor the quantum scale. That's not that's triletheism.
The only paradox is in your thinking.
You guys are a bunch of jokers now. You're just trying to poke fun at things you don't understand. It's okay.
Sure we are.
It's common. It's common.
Pot calling kettle black. You're a walking irony, Zanick.
It was so easy, right? For what you said, I just gave you your sun model, and I asked you, when you remove the sun, what happens? And it's over. It's game over right there. You have to say it's going to take 8 minutes.
I said on a local scale.
You have to say. You see how you have to cut me off now? Yeah, that's
because you didn't listen. You're repeating the same stupid response.
Yeah. Okay, bro. We understand.
Clearly, it doesn't work on the scale, the local scale. This instantaneity. I was responding to WItsit and his quantum locking and magnets levitating. How the instantaneity is not there, as well as only the magnet is floating, and there's still forces acting on it because it still has objects that are on it or near it or in it that are still having forces acting on them as well. Free fall has no forces. It is inertial. It is an inertial state where no forces are acting on you. You can measure this. It's verifiable. Sure? And the instantaneity is on a local measured realm as well. So you're wrong, NC. You don't understand what you're saying.
Forces. How would it be falling? How would an object in free fall be falling if there was nothing acting on it or anything that you guys have been discussing here in the last hour?
So you're not paying attention. That is the paradox.
It's not a paradox.
That's the quantum.
Because it's following it.
It's not a paradox.
Can I answer the question?
You're just manipulating what you're talking about to paint it as if it's a paradox.
He did not ask you. He asked me.
Does it matter?
Is your name Zanick?
It's not. Does it matter?
Is your name Zanick?
Does it matter? It's not a paradox.
Yes, it does matter. Your name's not Zanick. So
it's not a paradox.
It's not a paradox because we
just
measure.
Because you say it's a paradox doesn't make it a paradox.
Well, okay, I'll give you.
Just because you answer questions that nobody asked doesn't mean it has any value.
He asked the question.
No, the whole position that you're painting is you're answering the question. You're answering the question of a paradox. But there is no paradox in the first place to answer the question about.
It has no forces acting because you can measure these to have no forces on them.
So it's not moving. You
can measure any simple. Elijah, fuck you.
So it's not moving, huh?
It is moving. We can measure the acceleration from the ground on that object.
So
and we
what's
see
the what's the
Elijah,
point,
that's the
where's
paradox.
Where's the paradox?
You fucking idiot. What is wrong
Where's
with
the paradox other than in your cognition?
Again.
What are you talking about?
Shut up and I'll tell you. The
you shut up.
Is we have an acceleration, yet there are no forces acting. That is the paradox.
So it's not moving.
I need to explain further.
So it's not moving.
It is moving. We've measured it. That's
so
why
there's
it's a
no paradox.
That's why it's a paradox, you fucking mong.
So there's no paradox.
You're a mong.
If it's moving, then there's no paradox.
It's accelerating, but there's no forces. That's a paradox, you mong.
Is it moving?
Yes.
So what's the paradox?
Because it has forces acting on it. It doesn't have forces acting on it.
But is it moving? He just spoke truth. He just spoke truth. So it is.
It's accelerating.
So it is moving, yes.
But yet it's accelerating. It is moving.
So it is moving. So what's
with
the problem?
respect to the ground. But it has no force acting on it.
It's just moving. It's just moving. With respect to whatever, it doesn't matter. It's moving.
It does. That is exactly the paradox, you idiot.
What's the paradox?
it's forces acting on it at the ground.
Wow. So it's moving, yes.
Elisha,
so there are forces involved, yes.
You're trying to outwit yourself. You can't do it. You have no idea how stupid you sound.
I mean,
it's a paradox because
again with the irony.
No, it's not irony. It's idiocy.
Yeah, that's
idiocy.
irony.
It's idiocy.
No, it's irony when you
irony
say
and idiocy.
When you say you don't understand, it's irony. When you say you sound stupid,
I haven't
it's
said that.
irony.
You said that.
No, I'm talking about you. When you say people don't understand, it's irony. When you say people are stupid, it's irony.
Paradox.
When you say you're disengaging, it's irony. Because you're not disengaging. And there you go.
He's